The galactic stage. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, countless civilizations had risen and fallen over millennia. The current galactic order was dominated by the Galactic Confederation, a loose alliance of advanced species that had achieved interstellar travel. At the fringes of this cosmic community stood humanity, a relative newcomer to the galactic stage. Earth had made first contact with alien life just 50 years prior, when a Zalaxian survey ship detected radio signals emanating from the blue planet. The revelation that humans were not alone in the universe had initially sent shockwaves through Earth's societies, but the species had adapted with remarkable speed. Within a decade, humanity had reverse-engineered enough alien technology to achieve faster-than-light travel, and Earth's first interstellar colonies were established shortly after. The Galactic Confederation viewed humanity with a mixture of curiosity and condescension. To the elder races like the Xylaxians and the Voth, humans were quaint creatures, clever in their own way, but ultimately primitive. Humanity's rapid technological advancements were attributed to the uplifting effect of contact with superior civilizations, rather than any inherent ingenuity of the species. Admiral Elena Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, Earth's newest and most advanced warship, as it approached the glittering spires of Nexus Station. The massive space station served as the seat of the Galactic Confederation, and humanity had finally been granted a minor seat at the table. As Earth's representative, Elena felt the weight of her entire species on her shoulders. Nexus Control, this is UES Horizon requesting docking clearance. Elena's communications officer, Lieutenant Raj Patel, transmitted. There was a pause before the reply came. UES Horizon, clearance granted. Proceed to Docking Bay 17B. Welcome to Nexus Station. Humans. Elena couldn't miss the slight hesitation before the controller said, humans. It was a reminder of humanity's status as newcomers, barely tolerated by the established powers. As the Horizon maneuvered into its assigned berth, Elena turned to her second-in-command, Commander David Okafor. David, I want you to stay with the ship. Keep the crew on high alert. Something doesn't feel right about this summit. David nodded, his expression grim. Understood, Admiral. We'll be ready for anything. Elena made her way to the airlock, straightening her uniform as she prepared to disembark. The station's artificial gravity embraced her as she stepped onto Nexus for the first time. A delegation of alien diplomats awaited her, their diverse forms a testament to the variety of life in the galaxy. A tall, willowy being with iridescent skin glided forward. Welcome, Admiral Chen. I am Zorax, Chief Diplomat of the Xylaxian Collective. We are pleased to have humanity join us at last. Elena inclined her head respectfully. Thank you, Diplomat Zorax. Earth is honored to take its place among the stars. As they walked towards the Grand Assembly Hall, Elena couldn't help but notice the looks she received from other alien species. Some were curious, others dismissive, and a few seemed almost hostile. The humans' rapid rise had clearly ruffled some feathers, or whatever passed for feathers among these diverse beings. The assembly hall was a marvel of alien architecture, a vast dome that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the tiered seating, their murmurs creating a cacophony of alien languages. Elena was led to a small seat near the back, befitting humanity's minor status. As the session began, Elena listened intently to the proceedings. Much of it was beyond her understanding. Discussions of cosmic phenomena and ancient pacts that predated human civilization. But she caught enough to realize that all was not well in the Galactic Confederation. Tensions were rising between several factions, resources were becoming scarce in some sectors, and border disputes were flaring up with increasing frequency. And through it all, Elena sensed an undercurrent of concern about humanity's rapid expansion and technological growth. During a recess, Elena overheard a conversation between two alien diplomats. Their translators were off, but her own implant was able to decipher their words. These humans, one said, its tentacles writhing in agitation. They breed and spread like a virus. If we don't contain them soon, they'll overrun the entire sector. The other, a being of living crystal, chimed in agreement. Perhaps it's time we considered more direct methods of control. For the good of galactic stability, of course. Alina's blood ran cold. She had suspected that some in the Confederation viewed humanity as a threat, but to hear it stated so boldly was shocking. As she made her way back to her seat, her mind raced. She needed to warn Earth, to prepare for the possibility that the galaxy might not be as welcoming as they had hoped. As the session resumed, Alina's danger sense was on high alert. She watched the other representatives with new eyes, wondering which of them saw her people as a plague to be eradicated. The humans had come to the stars seeking friendship and knowledge, but it seemed they might find only hostility and war. Little did the Galactic Confederation know they were about to learn a harsh lesson. Humanity had not survived and thrived on Earth by being weak or easily cowed. If pushed, they would push back, and the galaxy was about to discover why humans were the apex predators of their world. As the first day of the summit drew to a close, Alina made her way back to the horizon, her mind heavy with the weight of what she had learned. The ship's comm system crackled to life as soon as she stepped aboard. "Admiral." Commander Okafor's voice was tense. "We've just intercepted some troubling transmissions. I think you need to see this immediately." Alina quickened her pace to the bridge, her heart pounding. Whatever came next, she knew that humanity's place in the galaxy was about to change forever. The stars had once seemed full of promise. Now they loomed as a threat. But if the aliens thought humans would go quietly into the night, they were about to be sorely mistaken. The war that would prove humanity's true nature was about to begin. The spark of war. The bridge of the UES horizon hummed with tension as Admiral Alina Chen reviewed the intercepted transmissions. Her face grew grimmer with each passing moment. "It's worse than we thought," she said, looking up at Commander Okafor. "They're not just talking about containing us. Some factions are pushing for preemptive action against Earth and our colonies." Okafor's fists clenched at his sides. "But we've done nothing to provoke this. We followed every regulation, every treaty to the letter." Alina's laugh was bitter. "Our crime is existing, David, and growing too quickly for their comfort." She straightened. Decision made. "We need to warn Earth immediately. Prepare for immediate departure." As the crew rushed to battle stations, alarms blared throughout Nexus Station. A cold voice came over the comms. "Attention UES Horizon. You are ordered to power down your engines and prepare for boarding. This is not a request." Alina's eyes met Okafor's. No words were needed. "Lieutenant Patel, send an emergency burst transmission to Earth. Code red. Then jam all outgoing communications from this station." "Aye, Admiral." Patel's fingers flew over his console. Transmission sent. Jamming activated. The ship shuddered as tractor beams attempted to lock on. "Full power to shields," Alina commanded. "Weapons online, but do not fire unless fired upon." Let's not give them an excuse. The Horizon's engines roared to life, straining against the station's hold. For a moment, it seemed the ship would be trapped. Then, with a sudden lurch, they broke free. Multiple ships detaching from the station. The tactical officer reported. "They're moving to intercept." Alina's voice was steel. "Evasive maneuvers. Plot a course out of the system. Maximum speed." The space around Nexus Station erupted into chaos. Energy beams lanced out, barely missing the horizon as it wove through the debris field surrounding the station. Smaller craft gave chase, but the human ship's speed and maneuverability surprised its pursuers. As they approached the system's edge, a massive Zalaxian dreadnought moved to block their path. Its weapon ports glowed ominously. "They're charging weapons," Okafor reported, his voice tense. Alina's mind raced. The horizon was fast, but it couldn't outgun a dreadnought. They needed an edge, something unexpected. "Helm, on my mark. I want you to cut all power," she ordered. "Let us drift as if we've been hit." The bridge crew looked at her in shock, but no one questioned the order. The dreadnought fired, a barrage of energy that could have vaporized a small moon. At the last possible second, Alina shouted, "Now!" The horizon went dark, tumbling end over end, as if critically damaged. The Zylaxian beams passed harmlessly overhead. "Power up. All energy to engines," Alina commanded. The ship surged to life, shooting past the surprised dreadnought before it could react. Moments later, they breached the system's edge. Jump drives spooled and ready. The navigator announced. "Jump," Alina ordered. The stars streaked into lines, and the horizon vanished into faster-than-light travel, leaving the stunned Galactic Confederation forces behind. As the adrenaline of their escape faded, the reality of their situation set in. Humanity was now at war with much of the known galaxy. "Set course for Earth," Alina said quietly. "We need to prepare our people for what's coming." The journey back to Earth was tense, filled with feverish planning and preparation. Alina knew they had bought some time with their escape, but it wouldn't be long before the full might of the Galactic Confederation came bearing down on humanity. As they approached the Sol system, Alina addressed the crew. "What we've seen and experienced will soon be known to all of humanity. We are facing a threat unlike any in our history. But remember this, we are descendants of those who survived ice ages, plagues, and our own destructive nature. We've faced extinction before and thrived. We will do so again." The crew's response was a resounding cheer. Their faith buoyed Alina's spirit, but the weight of responsibility pressed heavily upon her. The coming war would test humanity like never before. Earth's orbital defenses came into view, a testament to human paranoia and engineering prowess. In the scant decades since first contact, humanity had prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. Now, those preparations would be put to the test. As the horizon docked with Earth's primary space station, Alina saw that news of their escape had preceded them. The station was a hive of activity, with ships being armed and troops mobilized. She was met by the grim faces of Earth's military and political leaders. Admiral Chen, the Secretary General of the United Nations, greeted her. "Your warning has been heeded. Earth is preparing for war." Alina nodded, her expression resolute. "Good, because I fear we have awoken a sleeping giant and filled it with a terrible resolve." The quote, centuries old, seemed fitting. Humanity had been underestimated, seen as a minor nuisance to be swatted away. The Galactic Confederation was about to learn just how wrong they were. As Alina began her briefing, reports flooded in from Earth's colonies and outposts. The Confederation wasn't wasting any time. Attacks had already begun on the fringes of human space. But even as the reports of destruction came in, so too did stories of human resilience and ingenuity. A mining outpost, armed with little more than industrial lasers and improvised explosives, had managed to fend off an alien cruiser. A research station, using experimental technology, had cloaked an entire moon, hiding thousands of refugees. Humanity, backed into a corner, was already baring its teeth. The galaxy had intended to exterminate a pest. Instead, they had picked a fight with the apex predator they had failed to recognize. As the briefing concluded and Earth's war machine rumbled to life, Alina found a moment of quiet to look up at the stars. They had once represented hope and infinite possibility. Now they were battlefield, filled with enemies who sought humanity's end. But as she watched, a swarm of ships began to rise from Earth's surface. Sleek, deadly vessels that had been built in secret, waiting for a day that many had hoped would never come. Humanity had not been idle in the years since first contact. Alina allowed herself a grim smile. The Galactic Confederation thought they were dealing with primitive upstarts. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The war that would reshape the galaxy had begun. And humanity, the unexpected apex predator, was ready to fight for its survival. Humanity unleashed. The first waves of the Galactic Confederation's assault on human space were relentless. Massive fleets descended upon Earth's colonies, expecting swift victories against the supposedly primitive humans. What they found instead was a species forged in the crucible of millennia of conflict, now armed with a desperate drive to survive, and a dangerous mix of advanced technology and barbaric ingenuity. On the colony world of New Eden, the Voth Armada appeared in the skies, their biosynthetic ships blotting out the sun. They'd broadcast a simple message: surrender or be eradicated. The colonists' response came in the form of a barrage from hastily constructed railguns, the hypersonic projectiles punching through Voth shields that had never been designed to repel such crude but effective weapons. Admiral Elena Chen, now commanding humanity's combined fleet, received the reports from New Eden with grim satisfaction. "They thought we'd roll over and die," she murmured to Commander Okafor as they studied the tactical displays aboard the flagship Defiance. "They have no idea what they're dealing with." Indeed, across human space, a pattern was emerging. The aliens attacked with overwhelming force, expecting minimal resistance. Instead, they found humans employing tactics and technologies that defied conventional galactic warfare. On the ice world of Glacier's Hope, Xyloxian dropships found their sensors scrambled by a planet-wide network of quantum scramblers, a technology the humans had reverse-engineered and improved upon from salvaged alien tech. The Xyloxian ground forces, blind and confused, were easy prey for human guerrilla fighters using powered exoskeletons designed for extreme environments. But it was in space that humanity truly showed its fangs. The UEA's Horizon, under Elena's direct orders, led a series of hit-and-run attacks that left the Confederation reeling. Using experimental jump drives that allowed for precise, short-range, faster-than-light travel, human ships would appear in the midst of enemy formations, unleash devastating barrages, and vanish before the aliens could effectively respond. Admiral Okafor reported, his voice tight with excitement. The Arcturus gambit was successful. The Voth fleet took the bait. Elena allowed herself a predatory smile. The bait had been a seemingly vulnerable human colony. When the Voth fleet arrived to destroy it, they found themselves caught in a massive gravitational trap, a weapon humans had been developing in secret for years. Half the Voth ships were crushed into singularities, while the rest fled in disarray. But Elena knew better than to celebrate too early. For every victory, there were losses. Human colonies burned, millions died, and the full might of the Galactic Confederation was still being brought to bear. "We've bloodied their nose," she told her war council, "but now they'll come at us with everything they have. We need to be ready." The readiness she spoke of came in many forms. On Earth and other core worlds, vast underground cities were being constructed, designed to shelter billions. Humanity unleashed. The readiness she spoke of came in many forms. On Earth and other core worlds, vast underground cities were being constructed, designed to shelter billions and withstand orbital bombardments. In orbital shipyards, a new class of warships was taking shape, incorporating both stolen alien tech and human innovations. But humanity's greatest weapon was its adaptability and ruthless creativity. In laboratories across human space, scientists worked feverishly to exploit every advantage they could find. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of xenobiology at the Mars Research Center, made a breakthrough that would change the course of the war. She discovered that the Xyloxians, for all their advanced technology, were fatally susceptible to a common Earth bacteria. Within weeks, human ships were equipped with bioweapon dispensers that could render entire Xyloxian fleets inert. On the front lines, human soldiers proved to be nightmare opponents. Their ability to operate in diverse environments, their capacity for violence, and their sheer tenacity shocked the alien forces. Stories spread through the Confederation ranks of human squads, fighting on even when grievously wounded, of kamikaze attacks that decimated superior forces, of humans using their enemies' own weapons against them with terrifying efficiency. Admiral Chen received the reports from across the front with a mixture of pride and grim determination. Humanity was holding its own, bloodying the nose of a galaxy that had sought to exterminate them. But the cost was high. and the war was far from over. "We need a game changer," she told her war council. "Something that will make them think twice about continuing this war." The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Marcus Blackwood, a reclusive physicist who had been working on fringe theories of space-time manipulation, emerged from his lab with a prototype that he claimed could fold space like paper. The device, quickly dubbed the Blackwood Drive, allowed for instantaneous travel between any 2 points in space, regardless of distance. It was a technology beyond anything the Confederation possessed, and it changed everything. Suddenly, human fleets could appear anywhere, at any time. Confederation supply lines were severed, their carefully planned offensives thrown into chaos. The Xylaxian homeworld, previously thought unassailable, found itself under direct attack by human forces that materialized in its orbit without warning. As reports of these sudden, devastating attacks spread, panic began to grip the Confederation. Species that had been eager to join the anti-human coalition now hesitated, fearing to draw humanity's wrath. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching as another Confederation fleet broke apart under the combined assault of ships that seemed to blink in and out of existence around them. She felt no joy in the carnage, only a grim satisfaction that humanity's survival was becoming more assured with each passing day. "Admiral," Commander Okafor reported, "we're receiving a transmission. It's from the Galactic Confederation Council. They're requesting a ceasefire and negotiations." A hush fell over the bridge. After months of brutal warfare, could it really be ending? Elena's voice was steady as she replied, "Acknowledge their transmission. Inform Earth Command. But keep our forces at full alert. This could be a trick." As the message was relayed, Elena allowed herself a moment of reflection. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, forced to unleash the full measure of its violent potential. They had proven themselves to be the apex predators of the galaxy, a force that could not be easily subdued or eliminated. But what would this mean for their future among the stars? Would they forever be feared, isolated? Or could this be the beginning of a new understanding, a recognition of humanity's right to exist and thrive alongside other species? As the Defiance set course for the designated neutral meeting ground, Elena knew that the coming negotiations would be just as critical as any battle they had fought. The war might be ending, but humanity's struggle to find its place in the galaxy was far from over. The stars streaked by as the ship entered FTL, carrying humanity's representatives towards a future that, for the first time since the war began, held a glimmer of hope. But Elena kept her hand near her sidearm. After all, humanity had learned the hard way that in this dangerous galaxy, it paid to be prepared for anything. The turning tide. The neutral meeting ground chosen for the ceasefire negotiations was a desolate moon orbiting a gas giant in unclaimed space. As the UES Defiance dropped out of FTL, Admiral Elena Chen felt a mix of anticipation and wariness. The sight that greeted them was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Hundreds of ships from various species of the Galactic Confederation hung in space, their designs as diverse as the beings that crewed them. At the center of this armada was the Nexus, a massive space station that served as the mobile headquarters of the Confederation Council. "Quite a show of force for a peace talk," Commander Okafor muttered. Elena nodded grimly. "They're sending a message. Let's send one back. Activate the Blackwood Drive." Moments later, a fleet of human ships blinked into existence around the Defiance, appearing out of nowhere to match the Confederation's numbers. The alien vessels visibly recoiled, some powering up weapons in panic before being ordered to stand down. As shuttles from both sides made their way to the Nexus, Elena couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. Humanity had entered this war as underdogs, expected to be quickly subdued. Instead, they had fought with a ferocity and ingenuity that had shocked the galaxy. The negotiations were tense from the start. The Grand Arbiter of the Confederation, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, spoke first. Humans, its voice resonated in their minds. Your species has demonstrated a capacity for violence and technological advancement that concerns us deeply. We propose a treaty that will confine your kind to your home system in exchange for an end to hostilities." Alina's response was immediate and firm. "With respect, Grand Arbiter, that's not going to happen. Humanity will not be caged. We came to the stars in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge. It was the Confederation that chose war. Now you must deal with the consequences." A murmur ran through the alien delegates. A Xylaxian representative, his iridescent skin dulled with stress, spoke up. "You cannot expect us to allow a species as dangerous as yours free reign in the galaxy. The havoc you could wreak. The havoc we could wreak." Alina's voice was sharp. "You mean like the havoc you tried to wreak on us?" "Let me be clear. Humanity doesn't want to dominate the galaxy. We don't want to destroy or conquer. We want to explore, to learn, to grow. But we've proven that if threatened, we will fight back. And we will win." The negotiations stretched on for days. Slowly, a new understanding began to emerge. Many species in the Confederation, particularly those that had remained neutral in the conflict, were fascinated by humanity's rapid advancement and adaptability. They saw potential in alliance rather than subjugation. Others remained wary, but the demonstration of the Blackwood Drive had made it clear that containing humanity was no longer an option. If pushed, humans could appear anywhere in the galaxy at will. The potential for guerrilla warfare on a cosmic scale was too great a risk. Finally, a treaty began to take shape. Humanity would be granted full membership in the Galactic Confederation, with all the rights and responsibilities that entailed. In return, they would share some of their technological advancements, including a limited version of the Blackwood Drive. Most crucially, the treaty included a clause that formally recognized humanity's right to self-defense and expansion. Never again would the Confederation attempt to confine or control human growth. As Alina affixed her signature to the document, representing all of humanity in this historic moment, she felt the weight of her species' future on her shoulders. They had entered the galactic stage as outsiders, fought a war for their very survival, and emerged as respected, if feared, equals. The Grand Arbiter's voice echoed in her mind one last time as the ceremony concluded. "Admiral Chen, your species has taught us all a valuable lesson. We thought ourselves the unquestioned masters of the cosmos. You have shown us that the galaxy still holds many surprises. We look forward to a future of cautious cooperation." As Alina returned to the Defiance, the crew erupted in cheers. The war was over. Humanity had secured its place among the stars. But Alina's expression remained serious. She knew that this was not an ending, but a beginning. The real challenge lay ahead, proving that humanity could be more than the galaxy's apex predator. They had the chance to become something greater, pioneers, diplomats, teachers, and partners in the grand tapestry of cosmic civilization. The Defiance's engines hummed to life, preparing to take them back to Earth. As the stars streaked by, Alina allowed herself a small smile. Whatever the future held, humanity would face it head-on, unbowed and unbroken. The galaxy had underestimated them once. It would not make that mistake again. A new galactic order. In the years following the Treaty of Nexus, as the peace agreement came to be known, the galaxy entered a period of rapid change and adaptation. Humanity, once seen as a primitive species barely worth noticing, now stood as a force that commanded both respect and wariness from the other spacefaring races. Admiral Alina Chen, hailed as the hero of the war, found herself thrust into a new role, diplomat and bridge builder between humanity and the rest of the Galactic Confederation. It was a task that often seemed more challenging than the war itself. "You have to understand," Alina explained to the Earth Council. 5 years after the war's end, many species are still terrified of us. We need to show them that we can be more than just warriors. And so, humanity set out to do just that. The same drive and creativity that had made them formidable in war was now turned towards peaceful pursuits. Human scientists collaborated with alien researchers, making breakthroughs in fields from medicine to environmental restoration. The Blackwood Drive, shared in a limited form with the Confederation, revolutionized galactic trade and exploration. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Some human factions, emboldened by their victory, pushed for a more aggressive stance in galactic politics. They argued that humanity should use its newfound power to dominate, to take what they saw as their rightful place as rulers of the galaxy. Elena found herself constantly fighting against these hawkish elements, reminding her fellow humans of the devastation the war had brought. "We fought for our right to exist, not to conquer," became her mantra. On the alien side, there were still those who viewed humanity with fear and distrust. Isolated terrorist attacks against human colonies occurred, while some species refused to engage in trade or diplomatic relations with Earth. 10 years after the war, a crisis erupted that threatened to plunge the galaxy back into conflict. A radical faction of Xylaxians, seeking revenge for their defeat, unleashed a devastating bioweapon on the human colony of New Terra. Millions died within days. As calls for retaliation echoed across human space, Elena found herself once again at the center of a diplomatic storm. In a tense emergency session of the Confederation Council, she stood before representatives of 100 alien species. "What happened on New Terra was a tragedy," she began, her voice heavy with emotion. "A crime that cannot be ignored. But let me be clear. Humanity will not seek vengeance against the entire Xylaxian people for the actions of a few extremists." Her words sent shockwaves through the council chambers. Many had expected, even feared, that this would be the spark that reignited human aggression. Instead, Elena proposed a joint Confederation task force to hunt down the terrorists and bring them to justice. "Let this be an opportunity," she urged, "to show that we can work together in the face of those who would divide us." The response was overwhelming. Species that had been hesitant to engage with humanity now stepped forward, offering assistance and support. The Xylaxian government, fearing human retribution, instead found itself welcomed as a partner in bringing the extremists to justice. This moment marked a turning point in galactic relations. Humanity, by choosing restraint and cooperation over vengeance, had demonstrated a maturity that impressed even their staunchest critics. In the decades that followed, the galaxy entered a new golden age. Human ingenuity, combined with alien wisdom and technology, led to advancements that benefited all species. The Blackwood Drive, further refined, allowed for the exploration of previously unreachable parts of the galaxy. Humanity's adaptability proved to be an asset in peacetime as it had been in war. Human diplomats, with their ability to understand and bridge vastly different cultures, became highly sought after. Human artists created works that resonated across species boundaries, while human philosophers challenged and enriched galactic thought. 50 years after the war that had nearly seen humanity exterminated, Elena Chin, now an elder stateswoman, stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a massive structure orbiting a neutron star that served as the new headquarters of the Galactic Confederation. Below her, representatives from thousands of worlds mingled and debated. Humans worked alongside aliens of all shapes and sizes. The distrust of the past faded into history. A young Xylaxian diplomat approached her, bowing respectfully. "Admiral Chen, your speech to the General Assembly was inspiring. But I must ask, how did you know? How did you know that choosing peace over vengeance would lead us here?" Elena smiled, her eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. "I didn't know," she admitted, "but I hoped. And sometimes, hope is the most powerful force in the universe." As she looked out at the vast expanse of space, Elena reflected on humanity's journey. They had entered the galactic stage as unknowns, proved themselves as warriors when threatened, and then, most crucially, shown they could be more than just conquerors. Humanity had demonstrated that being an apex predator didn't mean one had to always bare teeth. Sometimes, the greatest strength lay in knowing when to extend a hand in friendship instead. The galaxy had learned to respect humanity's potential for violence. But now, it had also learned to admire their capacity for peace, innovation, and growth. In proving they were more than just the galaxy's apex predators, humans had found their true place among the stars. As Elena turned away from the viewport, ready to attend yet another diplomatic function, she couldn't help but smile. The future stretched out before them, vast and full of possibilities, and humanity, adaptable and resilient as ever, was ready to face whatever challenges it might bring. The war had proven humanity's strength. Peace had proven their wisdom, and the galaxy, once fearful of these unpredictable newcomers, now looked to them with hope for what the future might hold.